Sura Yasin, verse number 70. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Litundira man kana hayyan wa yahikkal qawlu alal kafirin. That it may warn him who is alive, and the word may be proved against the disbelievers. A sign for the heart to be alive is the acceptance of the warnings of the Quran, because the appointment of the prophets and the revelation to them are the source of awareness and spiritual intelligence of the godly people, and it is to complete the argument for the dead-hearted ones. The aim of this verse is that it may warn him who is alive, and the word may be proved against the disbelievers. Yes, these verses are as a reminder, which is a source of remembrance and is the means of awareness. These verses are from the manifesting Quran, which states the truth without any curtain and with conclusiveness and explicitness, and it is why it is the factor of awareness, life and living. Once more, here we see that the Quran has considered the faith as life, and the believers as the living ones, and the disbelievers as the dead. From one side, it mentions living, and on the other side, opposite to it, it mentions disbelievers. This is that very spiritual life and death which is more significant than the apparent life and death, and their effects are vaster and more expanded. If life and living mean to breathe, to eat, and to walk, these are those which are common in all animals. This is not the human life. Human life is the appearance of the effects of intellect, the outstanding good habits of man's spirit, piety, donation, self-sacrifice, controlling the self, virtue, and morality. And the Quran grows this life in man's self. However, concerning the invitation of the Quran, human beings are divided in two groups. A group of them are alive and alert. These are those who answer its invitation positively and hearken to its warnings and admonishments. The next group are the dead-hearted disbelievers who never show any positive reaction to it. But this warning works to complete the argument upon them and makes the command of punishment certain on them. However, man has several kinds of life and death. The first is the vegetation life, which is the manifestation of the very growth, eating, and reproduction, and from this point of view, he is rather similar to all plants. The next is the animal life and death, the clear sign of which is feeling and motion, and in these two qualities he is the same as other animals. The third kind of life is specific to human beings. This life separates them from plants and other animals. This is the human and spiritual life. This is the same thing which has been rendered as the life of the hearts in the Islamic narrations. And the objective meaning of heart here is the man's spirit, mind, and emotions. Amirul Mu'minin Ali alayhi salam, in his sermons and sayings, has emphasized on this matter very much. Concerning the Holy Quran, in a sermon in Nahjul Balagha, he says, "And understand it thoroughly, for it is the best blossoming of the hearts." In another place, concerning wisdom and knowledge, he says, "Wisdom is a life for the dead hearts." Sometimes the sickness of the heart is compared with the sickness of the body. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, "While worse than bodily ailments is the disease of the heart." And one time he says, "He whose fear of Allah, that is his piety, is less, his heart dies." There are many other expressions of this kind. Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, in one of his supplications, says, "A great crime has caused my heart to die." On the other side, the Quran has considered a special kind of apparent insight, hearing, apprehension, and perception for men as about the disbelievers. It says, "Deaf, dumb, and blind are there, whereof they do not understand." And this is to be found in Surah Baqarah, number 2, verse 171. Summun bukmun umyun fahum la ya'akilun. In another occurrence, the Quran calls the hypocrites as some disease-hearted people, that Allah increases their disease. In Surah Baqarah number 2, verse number 10, the Holy Quran says, "Fi kulubihim maradun, fazadahumullahu maradun walahum adhabun alim bima kanu yakzibun." In their hearts is a disease. So Allah increases their disease. It introduces those who do not fear Allah as stone-hearted, ones whose heart is harder than stone. In Surah Baqarah, number 2, verse number 74, it says, ثُمَّ كَسَتْ قُلُوبُكُم مِّن بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ فَهِيَ كَالْحِجَارَةِ أَوْ أَشَدُّ قَسْوَةً. Then your hearts hardened after that as stones, and even worse in hardness. In Surah An'am, verse number 36, the Holy Quran says, "Only those accept who hearken, and as for the dead, Allah will raise them up, then unto Him they will be returned." إِنَّمَا يَسْتَجِيبُ الَّذِينَ يَسْمَعُونَ وَالْمَوْتَى يَبْعَثُهُمُ اللَّهُ ثُمَّ إِلَيْهِ يَرْجِعُونَ. From all these meanings and from some abundant other expressions which are similar to them, it is clearly understood that the Quran counts the pivot of life and death that very pivot of human and wisdom, because the whole value of man has also been put in this very section. Sadaqallahul Aliyul Azim wa sadaqa Rasulallahul Kareem wa nahnu ala dhalika minash shahidin wa shakirin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.